Hi, this is Henk. Welcome to another edition of the Skull Sessions. And today I have a repeat guest. He's my first ever guy on the podcast. This is his name is also Dan. This is Daniel Volpe. So what's up, man?
Hey man, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be back here, and it's a great show, and it's an honor to be your first guest, and I'm happy to jump back on and talk to you again.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what have you got going on? It's like I've seen your name around a lot ever since you first appeared on my podcast. I'm not giving myself credit. I'm just saying I've seen your name around a lot. And I've seen you a lot more. Like the first time I'd seen you was I didn't even see you. I read your short story and I illustrated that for Splatterpunk, and that's how I asked you to be on. But since then I've seen you a lot. So how's life been going?
Pretty good. I'm up to just over 20 books right now. I have a new shorter one coming out actually on Black Friday. I was just actually doing a newsletter that I'm getting ready to put out. So my new book is called All the Rage.
Okay.
It's short little Christmas book. It's a little 4x6, which I think is a pretty cool size for a little pocket book.
What size is the font in that?
I think it's just a regular like 12. Like it's nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is fine.
Yeah.
I was doing an MRI the other day, and I was like, I can't fucking sit there and do nothing, so I got to bring a magazine to read. It's like a whole tale on H.P. Lovecraft. So I'm like, I can't wait to dive into this. I get there, it's that little 10-point font, and they're like all stacked right next to each other with like zero line spacing. I'm like, fuck, I can't even read this.
Yeah, your eyes start going cross. You start on.
It's like that, like when it goes across like color pictures, it turns white. You're like, I can't make this shit out.
That's the nice thing about Kindles is that I change the font on it at your leisure.
Right.
So yeah, that's my newest one. I released one earlier in the year called Slaughterhouse Moan, which is not short. It's actually my longest book. It's about 85,000 words. Real nasty kind of homage to the older splatterpunks, mainly Edward Lee. But it's I have a copy of it here. Some cool artwork that was done by a couple comic book guys, Nick Justice and Len Danovic.
That's cool.
Yeah, they did a whole really nice cover. This one came out beautifully.
I feel like that crosses over really well. Like people who do comic book cell illustration when they do like book covers and stuff and magazine covers.
Yeah, and Nick is always great to work with. He's done a couple of he did the cover for All the Rage. He's done a couple other covers for me, so he's always a pleasure to work with, and really good artist and good guy to work around.
Would you say that like Edward Lee sort of like over the top style is kind of something that you prefer, something you go for? Like I remember when I read your Pregnant at the Prom story, it was very much like over the top, like kind of splatterpunk. Like I enjoyed it, like because the reason I enjoyed it is because it didn't feel like so. Side note, I'm not a huge fan of Art the Clown because it feels like it's just kind of violence for violence's sake. Like there's not a story behind it. And the Pregnant at the Prom felt more like there's a little bit of a story behind it. I mean, it's short, so you can't get like something complex, but it still felt like there was an evolution.
Yeah, that's something that I stress a lot in my writing. Like I like the nasty, gory stuff, but like I want story over substance is one of the things I always try to tell newer writers and readers and stuff. And Slaughterhouse Moan is definitely my most extreme book to date, but it has a lot of story in there, a lot of character arcs, a lot of character development throughout the whole book. So yeah, it gets, like you said, like Art the Clown, like Terrifier's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's, it's something to go see with your friends and you laugh. And like I saw Terrifier 3 with Aaron Beauregard at his house and we were laughing the whole time, but it wasn't, you're not really invested much.
I heard they're trying to put more of a story in there because I heard when they talked to the director, who's also the writer, for the first two, he's like, there's no story. I just wanted to be in the most graphic kill scenes possible. Yeah. But I think now they're starting to try and put something in there.
Yeah, well, with the evolution of the new wave of horror movies that we're seeing, where they are putting a lot more story, and they're seeing that these movies are selling well. Like Weapons just came out, and I thought Weapons was pretty good, and it's a very intricate kind of horror movie. very well done. I really like the storytelling of that. I don't know if it's something I'd watch again, but it was a very refreshing take on a horror story. And there was some graphic kills in there, but nothing nearly as extreme as Terrifier. But you've got a feel for the characters and the situations they were in. And I think Hollywood is starting to see that story over the, brutal violence and stuff is still a big seller.
The story over the just gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like the gotcha is kind of like, if it's the only movie out and it does that, you're like, wow, they're groundbreaker. But it's like when everybody's doing it, it's like, come on, man, I need a little more.
Yeah, it was kind of like Paranormal Experience. When that first came out, like Paranormal Experience was I love that movie. I thought the first one was great. It was creepy, it was atmospheric, and, had some cool jump scares in it and stuff. But then after they made, 6, 7, 8 of them, however many there are, then there are so many other found footage movies coming out. You're like, man, like I know what this is. Like, I like found footage, don't get me wrong, but after a while, they start to just get so repetitive. There's very few that have good hooks. Hell House LLC is another one I really, really liked. I thought that was a very well done found footage movie, and I thought
it's called Hell House LLC.
Yeah,
like limited liability company.
Yeah, it was good. They made a bunch of them now, but the first one is very good, and I think it's set in New York. I know you and I are both New Yorkers.
Right.
We live kind of a little far away, but we're both New Yorkers, and it was set.
Where are you in New York?
I live, to you it'd be upstate, but I live in like the Hudson Valley.
Okay.
So I'm about depending on what part of the city you go to, hour and a half, 2 hours in the city with traffic.
Right.
So
I'm about 30 minutes away from the city.
yeah. It's not a big fan of the city, but that's I don't really like.
Well, neither am I, but a lot of great stories come from like right around there, and like all the dead people in the Hudson River.
Oh yeah, I live in a very historic area. I mean, most of the Hudson Valley is very historic. A lot of Revolutionary War sites, French and Indian War sites and stuff like that. So it's a lot of history up in these areas. I live probably an hour away from Sleepy Hollow, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, I went to the famous graveyard. It actually fucking stinks. It's because like they buried a lot of people there before they embalmed the bodies, so they're all decaying in the ground. And I know because I was dating a girl who was a mortician at the time. She was like, you know what that is? Like, basically, we're right above rotting flesh.
Yeah, the gases are just escaping out of the ground.
But, all right, man, how many books did you have out when you did my first podcast?
Oh, God. What year was that?
I don't know. I think it was like 3 years ago.
Probably less than 10. I'd say I've really kind of hit my stride with putting stuff out right around that time. I kind of right now in November has been my like 5-year anniversary of going somewhat professional with this. So in 2021 I started putting more stuff out. So probably around 7 books maybe at the time, if that.
Okay.
And now I'm up
to, do you just right now? Is that like your career? You don't have like a side job as well?
Oh no, I have a full-time job as well. I got a wife and kids, so I need. The book, right?
It's not fucking cheap.
Yeah. Especially living in New York, it's on a writer's salary. It's not the easiest thing, but no.
It's probably a little bit cheaper where you live than where I live.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The farther north you go up in New York, the cheaper it gets, but.
Yeah.
So I mean, writing has been a great side gig for me, and I'm hoping to, move to transition to full time in a few years. Trying to build up a little nest egg so that I can kind of take that leap and hopefully go full time with it.
Okay. So do you have a website now? Are you building a website? How do you approach it?
So I have a store, a website store. It's just my initials. It's just djvhorror.com. And actually, I was just looking at that. I was just on my computer when you messaged me. I was like, Dan never sent me the link. I was like, is it today? I looked at my phone. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely today.
Yeah, that's totally my fault because I was like, I gotta make sure I send to him before because I went to the gym. So like before I go to the gym, I gotta make sure I send him everything. And I came back. And I'm like, I'm waiting. Where is he? I'm like, oh fuck! I never pressed send. So the whole thing was there. I just didn't hit send.
Yeah, no worry. I was sitting down in the basement and waiting because that's where I'm obviously down in my little lair here with all my books. So yeah, I was I think I don't even remember what we were just talking about, but yeah, I've been just kind of cranking them out, and
About how I fucked up and didn't send you a link, so you were like, "Where is Dad? Fuck this."
yeah, we made it. We're good. Only it was only like 5 minutes behind, so we're good to go.
Have you noticed it like an uptick in sales and interest in like what you have to offer?
Yeah, I mean, I have a very dedicated fan base. I would say I don't even like calling them fans. I just call them readers. They're great. They read everything. I have some of my super fans that just absolutely get everything. Sometimes they get two of everything just so they have one that's signed and one that they can read.
Oh, great! Yeah.
This actually will probably be my first month ever that my audiobooks have actually outsold my regular books on Amazon, which is really cool because audio is such a popular thing now. And I've been really putting some money.
I've noticed a serious uptick. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been putting a lot of time and money into having audiobooks produced for my new books, and I've seen a lot of growth in audio recently. And my website always does pretty consistent. People love, even though it sucks that the readers have to pay for shipping, they're usually willing to spend an extra couple bucks to have their own signed copies. And of course, I throw in all sorts of swag stuff. I got bookmarks and magnets and
Oh,
stickers.
awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah. Do you use any crowdfunding like Kickstarter or Indiegogo or anything like that? Or you
No,
just like announce on social media when something new comes out?
yeah, it's really just social media. I go on the major platforms. I found that TikTok is one of the biggest ones out there.
Hmm.
So I have a lot of readers and reviewers that will, sometimes I'll send advanced reader copies to them to try to kind of get things moving along. And mainly Facebook, because I'm 40 now, so I feel old. So Facebook's still my
That's
platform.
nothing. I'm 52. I don't hear it.
So I just turned 42 or a month ago actually. So Facebook is my generation's big social media platform. And then I have a newsletter through Substack, which I blast out periodically. I try not to spam people with it. So whenever I have something new coming out, I'll send them the links and just kind of let them know updates of what's going out. So if anybody's listening, you just go on Substack and search my name and sign up for my newsletter, and you get updates. Sometimes you get some special sales or some bonuses and stuff through the newsletter. So
How often do you put up the newsletter?
I try to do every month, but some months it just feels kind of forced if I don't really have much going on. Um,
Okay.
Generally, I try for monthly, but lately I've been doing when there's an update or something. So if I'm having an event coming up, I'll try to put out a newsletter. Or if I have like an events for like a quarter, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing 3 events in the next 4 months, I'll put that out in a newsletter, and then as it gets closer, I'll just update it and send out another one. And like I said, like I do cover reveals on there. So before I put it out on social media, I have a Patreon page as well. So my patrons will get the cover reveals first, then my newsletter
I guess
subscribers.
shout out to your Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon's been great. I have some really awesome patrons on there that are they've just been
But
amazing.
what's the link? Give a shout out to the link. I'll put it on the screen.
Honestly, I don't even know what my I don't even know because I go on it, but I think it says DJV Horror actually. Patreon. Let's see. Yeah, it's just DJV Horror and it pops right up.
Okay, awesome.
Yep. And
What are
yeah.
your links on the socials, like Facebook, or are you on like Instagram?
Yeah, so Instagram, Facebook is this is my name, Daniel Volpe, and that'll pop right up. Instagram, I think I have it under DJ Volpe. So,
Okay.
DJ Volpe, and then everything else is just my name, like TikTok. I think this is Daniel Volpe one. You'll see I have a logo that I generally use for most stuff. This little fox
Right.
head. So you'll see that pop up on most of my stuff to kind of signify that it's actually me. Or sometimes my mug will be on there, and you'll know it's me.
Okay. When you put out stuff, is like your volume increase over time?
Yeah, I mean, the backlists are very important, I think, for writers. So to increase the volume of backlist stuff, because we all know that if you sell, like right now, I'm on a Ron Amalfi kick. Like I love Ron Amalfi. He's a great dude. He's a great writer, and I've been just flying through his books. I just ordered another one today while I was at work. So, I always see an uptick when I release something new in some of my older books. Because you start building that new reader base. And when they get something new, they're like, "Oh, I really like this. I'd like to explore what else he has." So that's why I always tell new writers, like, just, even if you write 5 books and they all tank and they're not selling well, all you need is that one just to kind of strike gold, and then
The one
people,
that catches, yeah.
yeah, then they start reading your backlist. So yeah, I try to pump out as much as I can. I try to aim for 3 books a year. That's my goal.
Okay. And roughly, what's the word count and the page count? Because you say 3 books a year, but some people are like, 3 books to me means like 60 words, some
Yeah.
some mean like 60,000 words. So, like, what are you trying to shoot for?
Really kind of the story kind of dictates it. So I knew, like, with Slaughterhouse Moan, I knew that was going to be a much longer one. That's going to be my longest one. And I didn't realize how long it was going to be until I started really getting into it. For me, I'd say average word count for me is between 40 and 60,000 words. I kind of find
Okay.
the sweet spot right at like the 45, 50 mark.
Okay.
Because I don't like fluff. Like, I don't like reading, like, I love Stephen King, but like some of his books are so long and
No,
drawn.
that's exactly what I thought of when you said fluff. It's like
Yeah.
his earlier books, it feels like they're a lot more concise. And then later on, you just started padding it out. And I remember I was all into his stuff until I read Thinner. And Thinner
Yeah.
would have been a great 35-page, short story. But no, he padded out. So there's like a whole chapter on toilet paper. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I do not need to spend that segment of my life.
Yeah. I've been wiping my ass my whole time. So I know what toilet paper is about. But yeah,
But yeah, it just I knew it was like at one point he's doing like a lot of coke and just like a heavy drinker. So I
yeah.
don't know what all was feeding into it, but yeah, that kind of like pushed me away. Although I gotta admit, he has some great ideas.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, he's one of the most famous authors in the world for a reason. And yeah, I mean, but I generally like to read what I like to write. So I like the shorter, more visceral books. And again, I don't mind reading something longer. Like, I just finished up The Night Parade by Ronald Malfi, and it was almost 500 words, and I read it in
Mhm.
about less than a week, probably 5 days, because it was so good. And it was just, his pacing is amazing, and it didn't feel like I was reading a 500-page book. It was just one twist after another, and he just kept the story moving. So I really think that has something to do with it as well. I don't mind reading long stuff. I've read plenty of long books, but you have to have a good story.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like one of my favorites is Graham Matheson. He wrote Hell House, I Am Legend. So it feels like everything is like a tight, concise story.
Yeah, yeah, it's very, yeah, like, I Am Legend was great, and it is. It's very, like, just page turner, and there's no wasted words. Like, he just really keeps it moving, and then really makes you think in that book.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of underappreciated. Like he did Stir of Echoes, he did Hell House, he did, if you saw that Twilight Zone, the movie episode with the golem on the wing hacking away the wing.
I don't know if I saw
It's like
that.
a passenger and he's like looking out the window and there's a golem hacking away at the wing and he's like flipping out and everybody thinks he's crazy, but there really is a golem hacking away at the wing.
Oh
Oh,
yes, yes, I know what you're talking. Yes,
like Terror at 10,000 feet. That's
yes,
him. He
yeah,
wrote that story.
yeah, yeah. I truly think that, like, some of our, the forebearers of horror are underappreciated by some of the newer readers and writers, and knowing where you came from, and knowing that we stand on the shoulders of these men and women that came before us, that have really cranked out some really extreme horror stuff and just great books in general before we even were a glimmer in our parents' eyes. That some of them do go underappreciated, and I always try to read some of the older stuff. Nothing crazy old. Like, I can't get into Lovecraft. I've tried, and I have a hard time with it. I mean,
I'm a huge fan of Lovecraft, but I gotta admit, he goes a little bit purple prose, but I love his ideas.
yeah, and I like Lovecraftian things. Like, I love Edward Lee has some very good Lovecraft inspired books, and I love them. They're some of my favorites. And I try to read Lovecraft because I'm like, oh, he's one of the forefathers. Same thing with Poe. Like, I try to read it as much as I can, and I'm
Oh,
like,
you don't like Poe either? Yeah.
not that I dislike it. It's just hard for me to get into. Like, it's just I think it's just the language and
It
stuff.
feels a little too heavy for you.
Yeah, it takes more brain power, I guess, to sit there and really focus on that stuff.
Okay. All right. So, who would you say is your biggest influence as far as like writing?
I mean, as a kid, I read a lot of, did read a lot of Stephen King. which is an obvious answer. But for me, like in the era I'm in now and the way I carry myself professionally and stuff that really has inspired me has got to be Edward Lee. I mean, his was the first extreme splatterpunk stuff I read was The Pig, which I actually texted him and he gave me permission to use one of his lines in Slaughterhouse Moan because, I look up to him and, what he's done over his career. So, Edward Lee has been a huge inspiration to me and he's just an all around nice guy. Brian Keene is another one. I've been reading his stuff for years and he's another great guy. And his books, he says they're like pulp horror and they're great. They're fun to read. Some of his books are a little heavier than others. I was on vacation over the summer and I texted him a picture. I was reading Castaways on the beach, and Castaways is just a fun kind of mutant-y, creature kind of book set on an island. And it was perfect because I was on an island and it was fun to read.
Did you read about some of the like local elements of like the scenery? You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at.
yeah. I was looking around. Definitely looking around for the TV show there, like on Castaways. It was cool. And I've read some of other Keen's. He does some really good like dark fantasy stuff. And I think last year I was out in the woods and I brought one of his fantasy books. I mean, I sent him a picture of that. I was like, hey, this is a great read sitting out in the woods. I think it was his one of the Bastards. He wrote a trilogy with, I can't think of the other authors off the top of my head, but a nice like dark fantasy kind of book. So that was fun to read too.
Okay, awesome. Do you go to the Scares and Cares?
Yeah, I go every year. I've been going since 2021, I think was my first event, and I'm already booked for next year, ready to go down. I think I'm carpooling with Aaron and Chris, so that should be a shit show.
Shit show.
Yeah, the three of us drove out to Indiana together earlier this year, so that was a good time. It was fun. So, but Scares is a great event. I love going every year and highly recommend it.
Yeah, I remember one year I went there and Robert Essig was there and he was like, dude, that's the most books I've ever sold at any event.
Yeah.
So, he did very well there.
Yeah, I saw him. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I think it was the year before. I got to hang out with him, and Robert's a great guy, another great writer. He's got some really cool stuff out. Another kind of like OG, I'd consider. He's been in the game for a while, and really cool dude, easy to talk to, great books. So definitely, I like his stuff. And it's always cool to see him. He's a Tennessee boy, I think.
Yeah, you get a little bit of that twang.
A little bit, yeah. He's got the look. He's got the twang.
But like pretty much everyone I met in like the whole horror industry is cool. So I don't really have a bad word to say. I know some people have drama with other people. It's like, yeah. I don't know. If I didn't have drama with them, I just want to see out of it.
Yeah, exactly. We're adults. Just act like adults,
Right. And I kind of feel like some of it is kind of like I was drunk, he said, she said. It's like, don't get me involved.
Yeah. That's the only downside sometimes to conventions is some people get a little sloppy, and it is what it is.
A little toasty, yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's an event, so you just try to have a good time, and maybe they have a friend that you can kind of pull off to the side and say, hey, you need to get them out of here, get them to bed, get them a bottle of water and some Advil, and get it off.
As long as you don't projectile vomit all over you.
Yeah, we don't need an exorcist scene in the hotel lobby.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. So, like I said, I'm trying to run little short episodes now because people have no fucking attention span. Yeah. But tell people how they can get hold of you, how they can see your work, and what you have coming out next.
Yeah. So, my website is djvhorror.com. You can buy all my books there signed. If you like paperbacks, I think I may have some hardcovers left on there. I also have an email on there. If you want to shoot me an email, do the contact list there. Social media stuff, I'm on the big ones, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I go on Reddit sometimes. Reddit's fun. It's like the Wild West, but Reddit's a good time. Yeah, I mean those are the main things, and if you ever see me, I try to do as many conventions as I can. They get a little difficult, they get pricey to have to fly books out, but I will be at KillerCon next year down in Austin. So that's another big
Like
one.
KillerCon's, I think they moved the month, right?
Yeah, it's in November, which will be nice instead of
Yeah.
fucking August in Texas, which is brutal.
It's a little bit brutal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially for us as Northerners, that
Right.
Texas heat was melting me.
Well, Texas in November, I'm like, it's just normal.
Yeah,
To them,
yeah.
it's cold. I'm like, it's just normal. You know.
Oh, I just did a writing retreat with Aaron and Shane, and Shane McKenzie's born and bred Texan, and we were up in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania, and it was snowing, and we got like,
Oh, is he freezing?
yeah, we got like a dusting, and he thought it was the end of the world. He's like, "Are we gonna be able to drive?" And I'm like, "It's fine, sticking to the roads." I'm like, "We're fine." I'm like, "This is a dusting." He's like, "It's like a blizzard." I'm like, "Dude, this is a dusting." I'm like,
There's nothing. Yeah.
this is nothing." Be here in January.
I lived in Austin for 3 years and then I had to move back. But when I lived there, I was doing a lot of conventions overseas, and Dallas is the international airport. So I came back to Dallas, and they had one of the few snowstorms they have. There was 1 inch on the ground. They canceled all flights. They were like, I was like, I have a connecting flight to Austin. They're like, yeah, everything canceled. So we're like, there's only an inch. Like in New York, like that would be nothing.
No, they
It
don't
would
even
already
cancel.
be gone.
Yeah, they don't even cancel school for that.
But all right, man. Well, thank you very much for being on this. Do you have anything else you want to throw out for the social sphere and tell people to check out?
Yeah. So for those that don't know, myself, Aaron Beauregard, and Christopher Triana started an underground series called The Obituaries probably about 4 years ago now, and it's privately published. Something we do ourselves. We fund it ourselves, and we always, usually we try to invite some guest
I
authors.
feel like everyone knows Howard.
Yeah. So this next issue coming out is going to feature Brian Keene, and it's called Dark Times. So all the stories take place in different times in history, and they're just as brutal and violent and crazy as the other issues. So that's obitshorror.com. That's where we sell those books. So if anybody wants to check those out, we do have some older ones in stock still. We had, Edward Lee, C.V. Hunt, Wrath James White, Brian Smith. Those have been our guest authors so far. And then now we have Brian Keene joining us for issue 8.
Yeah, Rusty just moved to Thailand.
Yeah. I see his socials. He's in the gym and stuff. And
He's at I do Muay Thai, and like that's like OG of Muay Thai. So
yeah, those guys are no joke.
Like I was like, I wish. Like I feel like you're so lucky.
Yeah, that's like me. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, so like I would be like, to go on a train with like a Gracie or so, or Marcelo.
It'd be like if you're in Brazil or something.
Yeah.
Although it kind of depends on where you are in Brazil, because it's pretty dangerous.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't want to go to Rio or something like that.
I almost went. I was going to do a tattoo convention in Brazil, and I was all looking forward to it because I tattoo a guy who has a jiu-jitsu school there. He's like a 3rd-degree black belt, and I really wanted to go, and I wanted to train with him. I was like all excited, but it turns out to go there, you have to have a certain amount in your bank account. You have to go to the embassy. You have to pay it's like $1,500 just for the right to go there that they might refuse. It's just for them to there was all this. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of money.
No, that Brazil would be cool, but I'm not that into jiu-jitsu to fly to Brazil.
All right, man. Well, again, thank you for being on here. And do you have anything else you want to throw out?
No, I appreciate you having me back on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and see you when we pass each other at conventions. So hopefully I get to see you next year and we'll talk more.
Well, I'll see you at KillerCon next year, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, all right, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.